St. Petersburg, and welcome to the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. I'm Todd Lewis. Tony Laporta joins me now as we get set for our first racing action of the day. It is the MX5 Cup Series on track, and Tony, it is going to be an exciting race. In fact, we have two MX5 Cup races today. Qualifying and practice were great yesterday. More action expected today.
A casual Friday yesterday starts with a dramatic Saturday. I know it's not an alliteration or whatever it is when both words start with the same letter, but drama already here in the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida, as championship leader coming into the season's final two races. Michael Carter has gone up in smoke. His 0-8 from Carter Racing Enterprises has come to a stop in the final corners of the track here at the streets of St. Petersburg Grand Prix. If you're watching live online right now at MX5Cup.com, we welcome you. Good morning, wherever you're at. If you're on the West Coast, a very good morning. But you can see right there as they get the cameras perfectly dialed in, the hood is up on the 0-8 of championship leader, the native of Savannah, Georgia. Michael Carter's first race of the morning is done before it can even begin. Todd, how's that for drama to start your Saturday?
Okay, I'm awake. I didn't need the espresso shots this morning. This is drama. If your championship leader in the first race of the weekend, of the first race of a doubleheader, has problems going up in smoke, that's a kickoff and drama in your Saturday.
Well, here's more drama for you. I'm wrong. It's Gresham Wagner. It's not the 0-8 of Michael Carter. I apologize. Carter's family right now is probably having a heart attack. It's not the championship leader. Instead, it's the pole sitter who won the pole in qualifying last night. There's the 0-8 of Carter. He's going by. He's fine. It wasn't until the door opened on the number 5, and also PR whiz kid Aaron Segal let me know I was announcing the completely incorrect thing, which isn't that unusual if you know me and follow my work, but it's actually the pole sitter from Spark Performance, Gresham Wagner, whose race will not begin from the pole position. It will not begin at all as he has come to a stop over in the final corner. So there we go. My first redaction of the day is in. It's over, but it's Gresham Wagner, which means by default his teammate from Spark Performance, Celine Roland, who actually scraped the wall yesterday in qualifying, but still had a time good enough to stay P2, will inherit that inside row 1 starting position. So he'll start on the pole, and championship second place runner Robert Noaker moves to the front row.
What an unbelievable turn of events, and amazing that the teammates have both had trouble already this weekend. Gresham Wagner, who blows up on the pace lap coming around to hopefully take the green, will not. And Celine Roland, as you mentioned, was really on it, trying to put in a hot qualifying lap, hit the wall, damaged the car, but still, even though he had to wait, chewing his fingernails, I'm sure, for the final 10 or 15 minutes of the qualifying session, still manages to hold on to a front row starting spot.
Well, I mean, if you were second quick in the practice or qualifying sessions yesterday, it did not seem like a favorable place to be, because in practice number 1, Luke Oxner of White Racing was P2. We see him just go by the cameras. He ends up getting into the wall and bringing in a red flag. He ends up missing practice number 2 altogether due to the contact. And then in qualifying, Celine Roland makes contact. So second is not where you want to be here in St. Petersburg.
Unless you inherit first, as Celine Roland has done now. We're still waiting for the cleanup to be completed as we're watching around the track. The clock is running now on the 45-minute session. These are timed races. They will run for 45 minutes. That will have an impact as well. These are not long races, and drivers get up on it pretty quickly, trying to take advantage of the start initially, and if there's any restarts, looking to gain position. Drivers will be looking to make moves quickly, even though the track is still a bit dusty from overnight. The wind's blowing. There'll be a little dust and debris on the track. All of the different rubber and fluids that were down on the track. This is essentially going to be a bit of a cleanup for these triers on the first couple of races, for a couple of laps as they get up to speed to be at optimum performance for the race.
And I think, and I was telling you this before we went live, Todd, I'll need your expertise here because I've never called a race in the streets of St. Petersburg. That looks like the left-hander turn 13. They're coming through right now. Is that where Wagner's car is?
No, that's not 13. That's sooner. That is in the back part of the course.
Only reason I ask is because we saw smoke right behind us right here, so I didn't know, so that might be a little bit farther up. Okay, maybe turn 12 is where Wagner's sitting. Yeah. So Wagner's car getting retrieved right now, and as Todd said, the race has started, technically. The clock has started. Lots of cleanup needed is what we're hearing from Sunday Group PR manager Erin Siegel. She says the race clock has started, but lots of cleanup needed, possibly 10 minutes before we even go green. So this is going to be an extended yellow flag cleanup period. Again, I'm not a mechanic. I don't claim to be one, but you have to imagine an oil line breaking or coming loose underneath the hood of that number 5 car for Gresham Wagner, possibly causing a massive put down of oil. The AMR IndyCar safety teams are out on track inspecting everything. The great track crew that Green Savory brings to all these events is out on track right now, cleaning up the mess left down by Gresham Wagner. But boy, you know, you hit it on the head, Todd. These races are already short, and you're not racing to lap 20. You're not racing to lap 25. It's a clock. And as you see right now on the Jumbotrons around the track, 41 minutes, 30 seconds to go. And Erin Siegel's telling us maybe upwards of 8 or 9 minutes still of cleanup to go. So this is going to be the definition of a sprint race when we go green.
Let's talk a little bit about these cars, too, for those that weren't with us yesterday on our Friday program. These cars do not behave in any way, shape, or form the way the open wheel cars do with wings and aerodynamics. These cars have zero aerodynamics. It is very much in the hands of the drivers behind the wheel. That dictates the performance out of the cars, what they can extract from the cars, because they are also all prepared very equally.
It's a spec racing series, Todd, and all these cars are delivered straight to the teams from constructor Fliss Performance, located down in Daytona Beach, Florida, who has a long and rich heritage in endurance sports car competition. The Fliss Performance guys and girls take what should have been an MX5 Roadster that you might, drive on the weekends, or you might take, I don't know, to go get groceries, whatever people who have Miatas do. But instead of getting them to the local dealership, Fliss Performance, Mazda Motorsports gets these cars. They turn them into purpose-defined race cars, and that's what we see on track right now. And you're right, no wings, no downforce in these things. They are punching a big hole in the air going down the straightaway, so there's a lot of drag, and there's no grip in the corners. And you might be saying to yourself, Tony, why are you highlighting all these low points? They're not low points. They are things designed to find out the best driver. I don't think it's easy at all to drive a winged open-wheel car. The speeds that those drivers are hitting, even in USF 2000 this weekend in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida, they're crazy. And with zero runoff room, as you see right there, whatever you're racing here, it almost looks like a fire, because they've got fire retardant on the right front of Gresham Wagner's car, so an oil fire must have broken out. But you're right, Todd, no downforce, no real driving aids other than mechanical grip to speak of in these cars. So when they hit a fast corner, the rear end is like on ice in an MX5 Cup car. But again, these are all challenges put in place to find the future breed of endurance sports car racing superstar. That's why Mazda has the Mazda Road to 24.
And we're interested to see how quickly this cleanup is done. The car has been put up on the back of a removal vehicle. They're getting it out of the way. They'll make sure that the track is clear of any fire retardant material, any fluids that are down. They'll do the cleanup, and hopefully we can get the green flag to really start racing. As Tony mentioned, this is going to be a sprint race now, even more so as we've started the clock and we're down just crossing under 39 minutes remaining in this timed race event. All of the drivers will have also been all keyed up to start first thing this morning. They would have gotten up. They would have been into their routine. And now there's this holdup. There's going to be this built-up anticipation, and I expect to see these cars 3, 4, dare I say 5 wide going into corner one.
Todd, you're tempting me with a good time. But you know what? As these cars circulate underneath the caution flag, getting ready to go green flag racing and make some pretty big-time moves to make up for lost time, they are following the MX5 Cup safety car driven by Gail Truis, a longtime member of the AMR IndyCar safety team. And I have to give a special shout-out, because we're racing this weekend in St. Petersburg, Florida. MX5 Cup was not even scheduled to come here, but obviously 2020 happened. Everything gets tossed up in the air, and we end up wrapping our season up here with IndyCar, with Road to Indy, at the streets of St. Petersburg Grand Prix. Obviously, everybody in the MX5 Cup paddock is happy. We're grateful, and it's great to get to come back to a street circuit after a few years off. But kind of a sad part to the weekend is MX5 Cup, through their Anderson Promotions connection, has been sanctioned. The MX5 Cup Series has been governed and overseen by IndyCar, the governing body IndyCar, for the last 17, 18, 19, 20. Now this will be the 4th year under IndyCar sanctioning, and that agreement comes to an end tonight after the season finale, and MX5 Cup will actually be going over and racing under the governing body of IMSA, the International Motorsports Association, known for events like the Rolex 24, the 12 Hours of Sebring, and all the other endurance sports car racing classics you come to know and love. So we've been with IndyCar for 4 years, and through my work with the Road to Indy and getting to call MX5 Cup races for the last 4 years, I have to say a personal thank you to everybody at IndyCar. For a long time, it was Jason Penix before he transitioned into his role at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Gail Truess, all the AMR IndyCar medical team. The race control is provided by IndyCar. The same folks that officiate the Indianapolis 500 oversee and officiate our MX5 Cup races. So it's a bittersweet weekend because, like, you have shots like that zipping through beautiful downtown St. Pete, but it's tough to know we're going to be leaving IndyCar sanctioning at the end of the season. So again, on behalf of everybody at Mazda and MX5 Cup, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to IndyCar, all of the other series that come and travel, all of the fans that have come and shown up and taken an interest in MX5 Cup. We've definitely loved our time with IndyCar these last 4 years.
Great to have the MX5 Cup cars here with a double header today, with 2 45-minute races. They're scheduled a little bit different. Normally they would practice and qualify and then have one race on each day through the weekend, but now it is a double header because of the compressed schedule this weekend. So that brings up a question as well for Gresham Wagner. Hopefully they can make those repairs necessary to that car, get it cleaned up, and get it ready to go racing again early this afternoon.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time. This green flag was scheduled to go at 8:30 in the morning. The next green flag, the final green flag of the 2020 season, is scheduled to go at 12:50. So again, I'm no math wizard, but that's not a lot of time between when this race is going to go checkered in 35 minutes and when the next one is scheduled to go green. Great shots right there, Luke Ochsner and Matt Dirks, the 77, 76 from White Racing. And the cleanup is not done. As you can see that shot right there in the final couple of corners, they still have safety and cleanup crews down there making sure that an already low on grip racetrack is going to be as safe and as suitable as possible. You can see a good amount of oil dry right there to the left of your screen. It would be to the driver's right-hand side. And yeah, they might not necessarily go over there all the time, but as you said, Todd, we're going to see 2-3 wide racing here once we go green. So they have to make sure all of this track is as clean and as safe as possible. So that's why we're taking the extra time.
That was good of Gresham Wagner to get off the racing line as well, to get that car over to the right-hand side to driver's right on the track. So any of the fluids that did escape from the car are not on the racing line. That will help expedite the cleanup just a little bit. But we're going to take at least one more lap under yellow flag conditions. And now less than 35 minutes remaining. So yes, everybody's going to be up on it. The championship implications are going to be significant. Gresham Wagner is out. Celine Roland moves to the #1 starting spot. Robert Noaker also moves up. It will be interesting to see. Luke Oxnard gets a spot as well. He had his struggles yesterday. So this has been a dramatic conclusion to the MX5 Cup season with all that has gone on through practice, qualifying, and now race #1, which is still under yellow.
Well, and as you just said, Robert Noaker gets to advance up to the outside of row #1 with Gresham Wagner falling out. Noaker qualified 3rd last night. In qualifying, he inherits that outside row 1 starting spot, and a lot of people might be thinking, man, he gets to move up a whole row. That's great. He gets to start on the front row. But it's the outside of row #1, and you come flying down this runway here on the streets of St. Petersburg Grand Prix, and then you go into a double apex, starting out wide, ending up very narrow, right-handed turn #1. Michael Carter, the championship point leader, who leads Robert Noaker by only 7 points, gets to move up to the inside of row #2. I'm not saying that the outside line can't work here, but when you look at how wide you enter turn #1 here, and then how tight it gets on corner exit, I think maybe the big winner here might be Michael Carter for getting to move up from the outside of row 2 to the inside of row 2, and he's going to get that advantage. Robert Noaker is going to have to really just get down to the inside right after the green flag and tuck in behind Celine Roland, because I think if Noaker tries to live on the high side, I don't know if it's going to work out very well for him, at least on the first lap.
Cars are just circulating around, making their way through the back part of the course, coming up through corner 10 now and past that incident that occurred on what was supposed to be the start of this race. Drivers are moving around, trying to keep some heat and get some heat into those tires as we get closer, hopefully, to the start of green flag racing under the MX5 Cup, race #1 of 2, now coming through the 13 and 14. Up towards the start-finish line.
And they're being shown the 1 to go sign by Chief Starter Aaron Lykin. So the yellow flag rolled up in a stick style, and he will point to the new front row of Celine Roland and championship second place driver Robert Noaker. Big thanks to Erin Sekel, PR manager for the Global MX5 Cup Series. She is listening to Race Control Radio and letting us know everything that's going on. She's also managing the MX5 Cup Twitter account, and this is something I always like to do. I know it's early in the morning, wherever all of you are watching at home right now, but let us know where you're watching from, either by checking in on Facebook or hitting us up on Twitter at Global MX5 Cup. Let us know. I've done this in the past. I think it's kind of fun, especially since it's a morning race. Let us know where you're watching from, maybe what you're having for breakfast. I myself had a bagel. I ate it like a donut. A lot of people hate me when I do that, but I love it personally. So let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what you're doing. If you're here at the track, tweet us at Global MX5 Cup. It's been almost 15 minutes under caution, and they're going to come to the green for a double foul restart this time. It's about to get big.
So now the drivers have to refocus. Okay, the cleanup's done. The crew chiefs will be saying, be prepared for the start. Be ready. Remember what we talked about early this morning and last night. Double up. Take advantage of the bunched up starting field. This is your opportunity to gain positions. Watch for corner one. After the green flag flies, they will spread out, and then it's going to have to narrow down, and everybody try to get through corner one, and then the quick right-left-hander of 2 and 3.
Field makes their way down the backside of the track. They'll pass Mahaffey Theater on their right-hand side, and they'll make their way into the final short chute before the double turn, that U-turn down there that connects the city streets with the airport runway here in St. Petersburg, Florida. That double U-turn, turns 13 and turn 14. It's so critical to be good there on a green flag lap to get a good run of speed down the front straightaway, but this time they'll come into it side by side. Race Control tells safety car driver Gail Truist to get away. The field will pack up and pair up as they come in to the final corner. Folks, wherever you're at, here at the streets of St. Petersburg, or if you're back home, strap in, because the race has been cut from 45 minutes to less than 30. And we're trying to decide a champion here in 2020. Gail Truist hits pit lane in the MX5 Cup safety car. New pole sitter Celine Roland brings them down to the green flag. Robert Noaker's fighting for his life and $200,000. What do you say, Aaron Likens? Let's go racing. Green flag flies, and Celine Roland does exactly what he has to do and jumps out to an early lead. Robert Noaker dives down to the inside. Noaker's going to take a look to the inside for the race lead. Can he make something happen? No, Celine Roland's going to hold him off. Michael Carter advances from third place up to second position. They come out of 1-2. They'll head to turn 3. Good, clean start, Todd.
That is a great start for these cars. 2 and 3 wide. I didn't see them get spread out quite as far as I was expecting, and have seen at times. Now they're starting to shuffle through the back part of the course as they head to corner 5 for the right-hander, and again, starting to string out and still side by side in a few areas.
That's Drake Kemper in the Provision Motorsports number 99, getting a little jiggy with it as they come through 5 and 6 now. They'll get up for the right-hander 7, 8, and 9 before that long straightaway, leading him into the fast left-hander turn number 10. But you're not going to see these MX5 Cup cars get very spread out. Not now, not in the middle of the race, not at the end of the race. They stay very close together. They make their way down the straightaway over that quick left-handed dog leg kink, what have you, and then they'll get on the brakes right here behind us in the PA booth for the left-hander turn number 10. Celine Roland making the most out of Gresham Wagner's misfortune to inherit the pole position. He will lead them into the final corners to end lap number 1 under green flag.
Teammates, Roland and Gresham, so he's been able to take off, get the advantage. You still have to think, though, in the back of his mind, my teammate had a problem. Is my car okay?
Exactly. You take the words out of my mouth. What is Celine Roland thinking in the back of his head right now? Meanwhile, championship leader Michael Carter tucks right back up behind Celine Roland. He stays there. He knows it's a long race still to go. 28 minutes left on the clock. Michael Carter doesn't have any interest in getting too racy right now, mostly because he knows that he's got championship frontrunner Robert Noaker right behind him. Robert Stout is 4th. His teammate at White Racing, Matt Dirks, is 5th. Zach Lee having a great race up in 6th position. Luke Oxner's in 7th in the number 77. Bashura, Kemper, and Piscatel round out your top 10. Kemper took a look to the inside of turn 4. Piscatel shut the door on him, said, no soup for you. He'll try it again in a few corners.
That's a great example of this race. Already a sprint at 45 minutes. Didn't take the green until there were just over 30 minutes remaining on the clock. Any position you're going to get, your best opportunity is early on. Take a peek. Michael Carter, though, did not make that move going into corner one. He's tucked right up, trying to take advantage of the draft, but there is no sense of urgency because his closest competition in the championship is right behind him.
No, and a lot of people tell me, a lot of the drivers in the paddock tell me, you know, when they describe Carter, he's a smart guy. He's a former Mazda Scholarship Shootout winner. He's a Rookie of the Year, so he's taken $75,000 to go racing the season after he won that, and he's going to stay right behind Celine Roland. I mean, I know now that I say that, he'll probably pull out and take a look, but I think you're going to see Carter stay right behind Celine Roland as they run down the front straightaway. Robert Noaker, let's call it about 4 car lengths back in 3rd position, and then Robert Stout is having a great run right now in 4th position. Stout is another guy, just like his teammate Luke Oxner, Todd, where if Stout didn't have bad luck, I don't know if he'd have any luck. He's having great luck right now. He just laid down the quickest lap of the race, minute 26 flat. Keep an eye on that, because if he can catch Noaker, they might be able to draft up to the front too.
And it's interesting to watch. Michael Carter, as he's following Celine Roland, continues around the course now and through the right-hander into corner 4. Celine Roland was ever so slightly tapping the brakes, just enough that the brake lights came on as they head into corner number 1. It just sort of keeps Michael Carter behind him and maybe makes him think twice about being bold and trying to duck up the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And also another part of it is it's definitely a defense mechanism, but also a thing that these MX5 Cup drivers have talked about with these big rolling bodies is sometimes they do have to pump the brakes a little bit getting into the corner to make sure they have just the right amount of pressure when they go to the pedal. It's not like a road to Indy or an IndyCar where you have all that downforce slowing you down on those wings. These cars don't have wings pushing them into the pavement, so if they're getting ready to slow down for a corner, it is purely based on what that brake pedal can deliver, and those BF Goodriches will allow them to do when it comes to slowing down, turning in, and getting through a corner. The field makes their way through 11 and 12. They'll set up for the final 2 corners, 13 and 14. Look out, because Robert Noaker is starting to get close under braking. Michael Carter still in 2nd. Celine Roland, your leader. Carter runs right up behind Roland, gives him a tap, says, hey, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere, as he stays right in 2nd place. And then it's under braking, Todd. You can see Robert Noaker does a great job at closing in, and Stout lays down an even quicker lap. Drake Kemper pulls into the pits. His race might be done early, as he is now smoking from the rear end of his Provision Motorsports number 99. Oh, you hate to see that. Now Noaker goes on the attack against Michael Carter through turn 4. The track bends back to the left in turn number 5. We'll see if Noaker can shoehorn his way in past Michael Carter. No, they're still side by side. Carter gets the inside line through the the right-hander, turn number 7. Carter holds on to 2nd. Noaker still in 3rd, but boy, is he close.
It is now the first 4 cars that are almost nose to tail as they make their way through the back part of the course. Celine Roland starting to try and eke out a little bit of a gap between himself and Michael Carter, but those first 4 cars all now within striking distance, each of them trying to take advantage of a little bit of a draft where it's possible on the longer straightaways, looking for an advantage, maybe trying to improve their position.
Well, and that's what's great about this racetrack in the streets of St. Petersburg, Todd, is you have some really tight, some really just on top of each other corners, but you've also got a few straightaways here that allow for a little bit of drafting. Field comes out of turns 13 and 14. They'll make the run down the front stretch made up of the runway here at Albert Whitted. Boy, Carter, you can't get any closer. Now he pulls out. Carter to the inside. This is the first move for the race lead all race long. Carter is there. He says hi. He says bye. New race leader, Michael Carter to the front.
And it looks like Celine Roland was trying to stay close and maybe even think about trying to cross over and get back ahead of Michael Carter. You know, Carter remains ahead as they go through 2 and 3, but it is a tight battle up front. So Celine Roland will change tactics now, and he will reverse. And look at it, it's a 4-car battle up front.
3 wide as they got on the brakes into turn number 4. Carter in the lead. Roland stays in 2nd, but Robert Stout leapfrogs his name twin, Robert Noaker. So Stout goes to P3. Noaker, who needs every point he can get to stay as close to Michael Carter. Carter's leading right now, not only in the championship, but out on track. Noaker has to stay as close to Michael Carter as he possibly can if he wants to stay in this championship hunt going into the final round.
Just about 23 and a half minutes remaining, so we are about halfway through this race. The first nearly 15 minutes under yellow because Gresham Wagner had a mechanical issue on the pace lap. The cleanup was extensive. It took a long time to clear the track of fluids and debris and to remove Gresham Wagner's car. Celine Roland inherited the lead, but Michael Carter just completed the pass. New leader out front of the MX5 Cup.
Yeah, Michael Carter's looking great right now. His teammate Jared Thomas was going to start up front. Jared Thomas actually elected to to go to the back of the field on the pace lap. And what he told our Aaron Segal was he wanted to avoid any carnage that might happen during the race. Up front, no attempt for a pass at the head of the field. Carter's done a good job. He muscled his way into the lead. Michael Carter shows up right there on timing and scoring as your new race leader. They'll snake through turns 2 and 3. What a cool complex that is right there. And the cars really are dancing on top of these BF Goodrich tires. They don't settle down in that section of the track, not at all. They come through the O'Reilly synthetic oils, turn number 4 right there, and then it's boom, a quick left-hander, turn number 5. Again, the car is not settled down even a little through this backside of the racetrack with a lot of corners that are right on top of each other.
Carter, Roland, Stout, and Noacre the top 4. And again, it is Michael Carter that is leading in the championship, and Robert Noacre that is his closest competition. So now from 4th, with just over 22 minutes remaining, Robert Noacre is asking himself, how do I improve my position? It looked like he was going to be able to climb up into 2nd, but now finds himself in 4th, chasing the championship leader.
I ask myself that every day, Todd. How can I improve myself? Now, I never find a good answer, obviously, but I love this shot right here. I think that's coming out of turn 10. It's got all the banners from the Hard Rock that say good, clean, fun. I think that's a great metaphor for Global Mazda MX5 Cup racing, because we're all out here just having some good, clean fun in the Florida sunshine. Field comes out of turn 14 to complete yet another lap. And as Todd was talking about, when it comes to the championship battle, there is one bonus point up for grabs for leading the most laps, and there's a championship bonus point on the line for fastest race lap. Right now, I believe Robert Stout holds that with a minute 26 flat. No, it's Michael Carter, minute 25.7. So Carter right now, if he can continue to lead and no one lays down a quicker lap, that's 2 championship bonus points. He comes into this race with a 7-point advantage over Noacre. Obviously, the quick math tells you it'll grow to 9 points, but Noacre's obviously going to collect a heap of points if he can finish on the podium or even stay in 4th where he's at right now. But again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. 20 minutes to go in this race. A lot is going to happen. I don't expect the top 4 to stay the way they are right now.
If the first half of this race is any indication in terms of the action that we've had, if the previous sessions during qualifying and practice are any indication, what we're seeing right now could be very different in about 20 minutes when the checkered flag falls. Michael Carter continues to lead. Celine Roland inherited the pole position after Gresham Wagner had a mechanical issue. Celine Roland held the lead for the first handful of laps. Michael Carter just passed him 2 or 3 laps ago, remains out front. He has a lead of just under half a second right now on Celine Roland. Pretty significant for Michael Carter to pull out that little bit of a gap.
You know, it really is. And again, it's not something that you typically see here in Global MX5 Cup racing. And so with that being said, I don't think you're going to see it stay that way for very long. Carter just bests himself, though, as we're saying, oh, he's not going to stay up in front for that long. He lays down an even quicker race lap, minute 25. 4.653. Celine Roland gets down into the minute 25s, but Carter is clicking him off right now.
That lap by Michael Carter is quicker than his qualifying lap that he put up yesterday. Just to give you an idea of how on it that Michael Carter is, he's a couple of tenths quicker than he actually was during qualifying.
Hey, I mean, stunting is a habit. The kids say it. I don't know what it means, but Michael Carter is doing it right now to get out in front, to take advantage of that inside row 2 starting spot, be smart, line up right behind Celine Roland, follow him for a few laps, and then pick the exact right moment coming down into turn number 1. Outbrake him. I mean, heck, he really didn't even outbrake him. He just straight up motored past him. And that isn't because he's got a bigger motor. It's because he got a really great run through 13 and 14, and he kept the momentum up, which is so important in these cars.
Michael Carter did it perfectly. We saw him tucked up underneath the rear bumper of Celine Roland for several laps, letting him know he was there, maybe just a little tap, a little knock on the door. And then when the opportunity presented himself, he had drafted up close and just past the flag stand, popped out, was able to complete the pass into corner number 1 and take the lead, and has held it ever since. A gap of 0.7 of a second last time by as they come out of corner number 14. Michael Carter still in the lead. That gap may have shrunk just a little bit as those first 4 cars aren't quite as close as they used to be.
Hey, and also keep an eye on Robert Noacre and Robert Stout. I like to call them Robert squared when they're running together because they are in 3rd and 4th right now. Stout in 3rd, Noacre in 4th respectively. But Stout's a smart guy. Stout's been racing the MX5 Cup this is his 4th season. No Acre's been racing a lot of different stuff for 12, 13 years now. These guys both know how to work together, and I think if they both can get good laps, you should see Stout and No Acre work together. And you know what, Todd? What beautiful images we are getting here, and this is another massive benefit that the MX5 Cup has been afforded by racing with IndyCar on IndyCar race weekends. IMS Productions is, in my opinion, the best in the business, and it's going to be a real heartbreak for me when today is over to know that as a broadcaster, I'll be leaving the cushiness of having the guys and girls in the IMS Productions truck and the camera crews that travel with IndyCar. Hats off to those men and women, whether they're in the truck, whether they're up on scaffolding running cameras right now, laying microphone and audio cable. IMS Productions has made the broadcast of these MX5 Cup races possible, and then Pro Racing Group, Kieran Guild, JP Mantarola, and that team have brought the images into MX5 Cup viewers' laptops and phone screens. Massive thanks to our digital partners. Definitely I'm going to miss them.
Michael Carter remains out in front of Celine Roland as they head toward the start-finish line. We'll check the gap this time by, and it may be just a little bit closer. It is now under half a second for Celine Roland, chasing down Michael Carter, trying to improve his position. Should give a mention as well to Matt Dirks, the rookie, who has climbed from 9th at the start up to 5th. He is leading that second group behind those front 4 that have broken away.
Matt Dirks has just been there all season. He's been right on the verge. He's great in practice. He started as high as 4th this season back at Mid-Ohio, but something always seems to go wrong. And again, I credit it a little bit just as an experience in the series. You know, he's a rookie. It's his first time doing this pro-level racing. I think you give Dirks another season, and the guy's going to be up there fighting for race wins every single weekend. I can't forget Palmer Audio. They make us sound great at all these events, so I'm definitely going to miss Schultz and those guys. But another quick mention, Jared Thomas, the Rookie of the Year leader, came down pit lane, and I don't think he's stopped. I'm not sure exactly. The only car I see sitting on pit lane is the number 99 of Drake Kemper, but I know that I saw the Soul Red number 96 of Jared Thomas come down pit lane. He scored as the last running car on the track right now, technically 1 lap down, so not sure on the issue. For just driving down pit lane, sometimes you think a drive-through penalty, but I don't know how he could have one. He's all by himself.
For the last 2 or 3 laps, Celine Roland has been trying to claw his way forward to close that gap on Michael Carter. He got it down below half a second, and this time by, again, as they pass the timing stripe, it is a little bit closer. He is just under 4/10 back, so it's incremental gains a little bit every lap, and in another lap or 2, we expect to see Celine Roland challenging Michael Carter for the lead.
You know what it is? When you're out front, you're in clean air, you get to hit your marks, you're not worried about anything. So that's why I think you really see Carter driving away down the straightaways. That's why you see him getting away on corner exit. But when you're coming into a corner, and I'm a big believer in having a rabbit to chase, having a carrot dangling out in front, and Celine Roland has a giant carrot in front of him, and it belongs to Michael Carter, so he gets to get down on the brakes. Roland gets to close right in on Michael Carter. Roland is eating up the lead on corner braking, and you see it right here on the front straightaway. Probably the biggest braking zone on the track, I'd imagine. And Glenn McGee, driver coach, data analyst, told me yesterday, braking is going to be where these guys are really going to have their best opportunity to close up the gap. Now, catching them's one thing, passing them's another, hashtag Days of Thunder, but you can't pass them if you don't catch them. So right here down the front straightaway, Roland has been so good under braking. Carter has to be mindful of that. He cannot afford to lose anything on corner entry.
See them coming through 13 and 14 up on the big screen, and the gap closes up as they slow down to one of the slowest points on the track. And now Celine Roland tucks in, tries to pick up a little bit of that draft from Michael Carter out in front. It was 3.37 seconds the last time by, and that gap goes up ever so slightly. But Celine Roland keeping his car full in Michael Carter's mirrors, letting him know he's there. Under 15 minutes now, 14 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in that race, setting himself up for hopefully a late pass to get out front and claim the checkers.
And to folks that are here in the streets of St. Petersburg this weekend, and I doubt anybody watching at home right now isn't aware of this, they've probably been longtime viewers and supporters of the Global Mazda MX5 Cup, but if you're watching online for the first time or you're here at the track, you need to know what these guys and girls are racing for. $200,000 in career advancement scholarship money will go to the champion here in 2020. And they help out the rookies as well. $75,000 is set to be wrote on a check with Jared Thomas's name when this weekend is over. Heck, you talk about a busy race day, Todd. add one more thing onto it. How about a championship banquet tonight once we're done racing here in the St. Petersburg downtown area? We're going right over to Mahaffey Theater. All these drivers and crew members are going to have to find a nice shirt and tie to put on because we're going to go hand out some big money, some trophies, and take some pictures tonight because whether it's Carter, Roll-On, or Noacre, whoever wins the championship when we're done with round 12 later this afternoon, they will be awarded $200,000 to continue racing next season.
Michael Carter doing his best to have his name on that check. Celine Roll-On tries to close up a little bit, still running second. Robert Stout, Robert Noacre round out the top 4 in that breakaway group, and it is Matt Dirks that completes the top 5. Under 0.3 of a second, Celine Roll-On with a very quick lap, closing that gap on Michael Carter. Again, just under 13 minutes remaining, an opportunity to try to pass, and Celine Roll-On is beginning to push Michael Carter around this track.
He is, and it's in big part due to the fact that he just laid down the fastest lap of the race. Celine Roll-On, the driver from Orlando, Florida. He used to be a Mazda dealership employee, Todd. It's a Cinderella story if you could ever write one. Celine Roll-On now has taken a bonus point away from Michael Carter because Roll-On is the quickest driver on the track. Roll-On just posted a lap time of 1:25.157. Carter, 1:25.2. So Roll-On is quicker by the hair on his chinny chin, but he's still quicker.
He was hammering away on some of those curbs as they came through the back part of the course and received the benefit. Under 0.3 of a second, the gap now from Celine Roll-On to Michael Carter, who is the leader in both the race and the championship. If you're enjoying this action the way we are, don't forget that the MX5 Cup cars will be back. They'll go green again at 12:50 this afternoon. It is a double-header race for the MX5 Cup cars. Celine Roll-On also beginning to feel the heat from behind now as Robert Stout and Robert Noacre are both closing in on him.
You know what they say about racing in Florida, Todd? It's not the heat, it's the humidity that'll get you. But right now, Robert Stout is bringing the heat as he's going to look to the inside. No, he tucks back in line. He thinks better of it. That would have been an ill-advised attempt, especially with how slick it gets right down there on those big, wide painted strips at the end of the runway. Stout was close, but he was not close enough. Look how close he is now, though.
He is bringing it. The obsession of Celine Roll-On trying to catch Michael Carter, and it has allowed the fight to continue, and now up the inside, that is Robert Stout making the move into second.
No, he took a look. Stout is still in third. Celine Roll-On holds the spot in second, but man, Stout was as close as you can get to taking away second spot without doing it. He was side by side heading up, I think, through the right-hander turn number 4, and Stout is all over the back bumper. And surprisingly, you never see this when guys start battling. They don't normally pull away. Noacre must be kind of trying to find his rhythm or something, because with Celine Roll-On having to defend so hard against Robert Stout, you're going to see Robert Noacre gain on those two really quickly, and it's going to work the other way. You're going to see Michael Carter start to pull away. Jared Thomas, the Rookie of the Year leader, comes down pit lane once again, and Todd, I wonder if perhaps, I'm listening to the motor, I don't hear anything, but the leaders are coming down the front straightaway. Could he possibly be getting out of the way of the leaders, do you think, to let them race cleanly and not interfere with their race?
All possible, but it looks like he is now going to make a stop along pit road, and yes, he is stopped at the end of pit lane. Michael Carter continues to lead Celine Roll-On by 0.4 of a second. Robert Stout followed closely behind in third. Robert Noacre in fourth. Matt Dirks remained the 5th place runner, the rookie with a good drive today.
Yeah, and Robert Noacre just continues to slip farther and farther back. So Noacre is trying to find something in that car right now that he just doesn't have. Matt Dirks having the race of his career so far up in P5. He's looking great right now. Zach Lee, the oldest driver in the field, is running 6th right now. Luke Oxner rebounding after tough luck yesterday. He's up to 7th. Alex Bashura is 8th. Justin Piscatel is 9th. And series newcomer, I know I'm going to get this name wrong, but Joe Atanasio is running in 10th. Brian Ortiz, former series champion, partnered with Atlanta Speedworks. He's up to 11th. Robillard, Hickson, and Jezebray. Kevin Conway, your top 15. But Michael Carter, he cannot slip up right now with such little time to go.
Just under 9.5 minutes remaining. We'll get a few more laps in, but this is also the opportunity where drivers will be looking at the time remaining. They'll be told, this is the time. Get as close as you can. Make the move if you can make it. But you remember, you've got to be successful in making that move. Those front 4 have broken away from the rest of the pack just a little bit, but it is a close competition. Celine Roll-On still with the opportunity to try to retake that lead before the end.
We were watching a good battle right there as we pick our leaders back up again, but they'll come into frame right here. That's the solid gold, number 48, a Zach Lee right there going by you, and he's being chased down by Luke Oxner in the number 77. Zach Lee racing for Macomb McAleer, and then Luke Oxner for Bruce White's team from Northern Colorado, White Racing. So good battles everywhere you look around the field right now. Luke Oxner is starting to reel in. Zach Lee can hear the Jaws theme song right now, and it's not just because we're racing near the water. It's because he's got Luke Oxner reeling him in lap after lap after lap. They dance through turns 2 and 3, and I want to frame that shot right there and take it home with me. How beautiful is racing in downtown St. Pete as you see the S's section right there through 2 and 3. We move up to turns 6, 7, and 8 now, or 7, 8, and 9, the 3 right-handers. Carter, Roland, Stout, Nowaker, your top 4, and then behind them that battle of Dirks, Lee, and Oxner.
Just over 8 minutes remaining in this first of 2 45-minute races today for the MX5 Cup Series. They will be back on track. They take the green next at 12:50 p.m. Another 45-minute race. Michael Carter with the lead. He snatched it from Celine Roland early on and has maintained that lead of just about 3, 4, sometimes up to 5/10 of a second as we get into the closing stages. Celine Roland trying to muster a challenge. Robert Stout, though, pressuring him from behind, and Robert Nowaker also looking for an opportunity to advance.
And you know what, Todd? I didn't even think about this. I didn't give Robert Nowaker the benefit of being as smart of a driver as he really is. Maybe perhaps Nowaker isn't missing anything. Maybe he's not looking for something. He could have just laid back these last few laps to save the tires because this track already has such little grip. And the BF Goodriches, they're not the softest compound of that tire. They bring a medium tire, so it's going to last the whole race. But because of that, it's not going to have a ton of grip right off the start. And we're less than 10 minutes to go on this thing, so you know they've already been through a long heat cycle. They've lost some grip. Maybe Nowaker's just laying back to save something for the last 2 or 3 laps.
That's the other thing that we have to remember. There are no pit stops here. There are no tire changes. What you start with is what you finish with. So you do have to preserve and manage those tires a little bit for the duration of a 45-minute race. It's a short race, but it does eat up the tires on these cars rather quickly. Celine Roland, through the back part of the course, is trying to inch his way a little bit closer to Michael Carter.
Out of turn 9, down the canyon they'll go as they'll head for Dan Weldon Way out of the fast left-hander turn 10. And that corner is just so typical of what an MX5 Cup car deals with when it comes to sliding the rear tires across the pavement here. And when you have city roads that have crowning in them, they rise up to the middle of the road, then they drop back down. These tires, the rear end of this car is just bouncing. It is an absolute handful for these MX5 Cup drivers, and Celine Roland is closing the gap. Last time by 4/10 of a second, separated race leader Michael Carter to second place Celine Roland. Let's see what it is this time by as they come across the start-finish line. The lead will either shrink or grow from 4/10 of a second. It grows to 1/2 of a second from Carter to Roland. Can he keep the speed up?
The front 4 have stretched out just a little bit, as Tony mentioned, the lead up to 1/2 a second for Michael Carter over Celine Roland. And again, this may be an issue with drivers just sort of trying to manage the tires, understanding the time that is remaining in the race, and trying to seize one more opportunity on the last lap, maybe with 2 laps to go, trying to gain every position that they can.
This is my favorite game to play late in an MX5 Cup race. We're looking at the lap times. Minute 25 is what everybody is pretty much doing. We're coming up on 5 minutes to go. I like to try to prove how not smart I am by doing the math and going, all right, minute 25 laps, 5 minutes on the clock. But thankfully, IndyCar pays much smarter men and women and timing and scoring to do that for me. So they'll let us know here in just about a moment or so when we're going to see 2 to go, when we're going to see the white flag. So until then, just like these drivers, we don't need to worry about it because there are still laps left on the board. Leaders come down into the left-hander turn 10, past the Gulf, or past the bay here, down Dan Weldon Way. They'll make their way into the double apex, turns 13 and turns 14. Carter, he grew his lead by just a little bit over 1/10 of a second last time by, but Roland has visibly closed up the gap here. They'll come out of turn 14, down the front straightaway. Carter is so good on corner exit, though. Let's see what the lead is here. It goes from 5/10 of a second down to 4/10. All right, so we're on a bit of a seesaw because Celine Roland just laid down the quickest lap of the race, minute 25.1 to Carter's minute 25.2.
That's a great lap for Celine Roland. He closes the gap, gets potentially the bonus point for scoring the fastest lap of the race. The front 4 have separated themselves almost into 2 groups of 2. Michael Carter being chased by Celine Roland. It's then Robert Stout and Robert Nowaker who are a little closer together in their battle. Also, almost 4/10 of a second between those 2. So 2 good battles for position up near the front. Who's going to get all the positions on the podium?
Podium deciding battle, as you just said, but also championship deciding implications are involved in everything we're watching right now. now, under 4 minutes to play here in this one. The field coming down to the left-hander, turn number 10, and they just whip around this place so quick. At a mile, 0.8, there's not a lot of track time in a lap here at St. Petersburg Grand Prix. This series kicked off at Road America, 4 miles in length. You want to talk about a long lap? That's a long lap. We were at New Jersey a little while ago, 2.2 miles long. So I'm pretty sure St. Petersburg is the shortest track of the season that Global Mazda MX5 Cup Racing has competed on this season. Man, and it's incredible. Roland is so good on corner entry under the braking zone, but then Carter is able to just keep that thing so wound up. And what I think it comes down to is, Todd, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think Carter's backing up the corner to make sure he carries a ton of speed through it, whereas Roland is diving in as hard as he can to try to eat up the gap.
That's exactly it. As we pass just under 3 minutes remaining in this 45-minute race, it's how you approach the corners. Do you slow the car down and get it and coast through the corner, or do you try to get the car and carry as much speed as you can through the corner? If you slow the car down a little bit more, you have to try to accelerate and regain that speed through the corner, which can be challenging, especially if you're feeling the heat from behind. So Michael Carter, hitting his marks and carrying through the speed through the corner, is able to inch out a little bit of distance as they make their way onto the straightaways.
But remember, Celine Roland came into this weekend, the championship finale. This is round 11. Round 12 is later this afternoon. The last 2 races of the season, Roland is still mathematically involved in a hunt for the championship. He came into the weekend third. Robert Stout came into the weekend second. Carter leads by only 7 championship markers. Remember, he'll get a bonus point for leading the most laps, which I think now he has safely completed. The fastest lap bonus point, though, technically now belongs to Michael Carter. Minute 25.2. Actually, no, that's his last lap, not his best lap. I do believe Celine Roland still has the fastest lap of the session. Leaders coming out of turn 14. Aaron Likens does not go for the white flag. That makes me think we have 2 to go this time by. Celine Roland back from Michael Carter. Last time, 0.5 of a second. We'll see what it is here. 0.4, man. It's just they're constantly back and forth right there.
That's exactly it. They are just inching their way back and forth, those two. Celine Roland gains a little bit of ground on one lap, picks up a 10th or so, and then Michael Carter takes it back a lap later. Just a slight difference in the driving style and approach, which is what we've talked about yesterday and earlier in this one. The drivers want control in their hands, and this series promotes that. It is very much up to the driver. With a spec series and limited adjustability in these cars, what the drivers do has a direct impact on the result. It's what racers enjoy. It's what fans enjoy. We're seeing the results of it here as Michael Carter continues to lead Celine Roland. Robert Stout in third. A bit of a gap of now a half a second to 4th place runner Robert Noaker. Matt Dirks rounds out the top 5.
Another interesting point when you look at the wild card that street racing really is. Robert Noaker kicked off the championship season by sweeping the season opening at Road America. He ended up finishing on the podium every single race for the first 7 rounds of the 2020 championship. He got into Gresham Wagner in round 8 at Mid-Ohio. He gets knocked off the podium there. And then with the exception of one race at New Jersey that we had a few weeks ago, Robert Noaker stood on the podium every single round this season up until this one. So this is the 11th round as the white flag waves. I think Noaker has a streak of 8 podium finishes, and he's looking right now at missing his 3rd podium in 11 races. And Michael Carter goes to the top of the time charts, quickest lap of the race. He does it as he sees the white flag, but he has to keep that speed up, Todd, because Roland is still within striking distance.
Any mistake by Michael Carter on this final lap, and Celine Roland is there to pounce. Robert Stout, Robert Noaker running 3rd and 4th respectively. Matt Dirks in the top 5. Now heading towards that right-hander, and Michael Carter gets through there smoothly. A pretty good gap still back to 2nd place runner Celine Roland.
Yeah, and now a fight for 3rd place is heating up as Robert Noaker might be proving me right for once. I think he could have been just laying back, saving his tires, because he has got Robert Stout right dead set in front of him. Stout has got a mirror full of the young Robert Noaker, who just turned 16 this summer. Noaker trying to get a podium position, but we're not concerned with that right now. It's championship leader Michael Carter trying to get $200,000 right in both hands as he is trying to win round 11, his 3rd victory of the 2020 season. The leaders come out of 13, or they head to turn 13 as they'll make their way through the final 2 corners. Carter looks like he's going to do it. Roland's not close enough. They make the big U-turn onto the runway, and Carter is going to come out of the final corner. Michael Carter extends his championship point lead, and he wins the first race of the weekend here in St. Petersburg, Florida.
What a great drive by Michael Carter. sat in behind Celine Roland for the first few laps, got himself close, found out where the best opportunity to make the pass was, took advantage of it in corner one. And look at Robert Noaker, who snatched away third position on that final lap from Robert Stout. Robert Noaker is back on the podium.
He did it. So that should put the number of races with a podium 9 out of 11 so far in 2020, and that is why he is so close to taking this championship lead and the championship away from Michael Carter. I'm not going to pretend like I know the numbers right now. Carter's going to extend his lead by a little bit, but with Noaker getting third place, that's going to keep him mathematically in the hunt. Heck, and so will Celine Roland. Your top three in the championship finish in the top three in the penultimate round of the 2020 season. That is the competitive nature of racing we're used to seeing here in MX5 Cup.
And as we can see, this first race of the day, things happen in the MX5 Cup. Gresham Wagner unable to take the green to start the race because he had a mechanical difficulty. Michael Carter will extend his lead, but what will happen? This is the cool part too. Round two for the MX5 Cup this weekend comes up later on today in just a few hours. Now teams are going to have to get back, find out where they can improve themselves.
And when it's over, we will know who the championship winner is here in 2020. So everything comes down. You know, I love the banner right behind us. It says it all starts here in St. Pete. Obviously, that's left over. It all really ends here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and it's going to end in just a few hours in the Mazda MX-5 Cup Championship. I cannot wait, Todd.
Michael Carter is the winner, Celine Roland, and Robert Noaker is the third-place finisher in the MX-5 Cup Series. Again, we will have the second round of this MX-5 Cup Series coming up a little bit later on today. The MX-5 Cup Series, race number 2, a doubleheader day for the MX-5 Cup at 12:50 this afternoon. Tony Laporta is headed down to Victory Podium to congratulate the winners and present the trophies and talk to them a little bit. Coming up, lots of racing action. We are just underway here in St. Petersburg. USF 2000 qualifying for race number 2 will come up next. Indy Pro 2000 qualifying as well. And the NTT IndyCar Series will hit the track for practice in just a little bit. As you're looking through, these are the unofficial results. Robert Stout, Matthew Dirks rounding out the top 5. A good run for Matthew Dirks, who started in the 9th position, was gained the spot when Gresham Wagner went out, but then moved up and finished with a nice top 5 finish. A solid run for the rookie. Zach Lee, Luke Oxner, Justin Piscatel, Alex Bashura, and Joe Antonaggio round out the top 10 of the MX5 Cup. As promised, we had lots of action right from the start of the green flag, our first action of the day on track here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Great racing in the MX5 Cup Series, and we will see more of that this afternoon. Also coming up later on this afternoon, race number 1 of the weekend for the Porsche GT3 Cup Series will happen this afternoon. That will be followed by NTT IndyCar Series qualifying, and then racing for the USF 2000 Series and Indy Pro 2000 Series will round out our Saturday action. So much going on. We appreciate you coming up to join us here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg this Saturday morning early. There is so much going on. Please be sure to social distance while enjoying a Budweiser this weekend at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Race fans, this Bud's social distance Buds for you. We appreciate your help and your cooperation entering the grounds this morning by wearing the face masks, by wearing the face coverings. We appreciate it. Going through the protocol, we remind you again that there are many hand sanitizer stations stationed throughout the grounds here on the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Lots of hand washing stations as well. When you are in the grandstands, please maintain your assigned grandstand seat. That will help us keep the social distancing and follow the COVID-19 protocols. We had a wonderful day Friday yesterday. We're looking forward to more fun and more safe and healthy fun this weekend at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. So much to do on track. The speed zone is open. Gasoline Alley is open. And you have an opportunity to update your wardrobe with official Firestone Grand Prix merchandise in Gasoline Alley. Fans receive special discounts on select merchandise to celebrate the end of the season. You can also get your hands on an official Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg souvenir program at the IndyCar merchandise store. There is also a virtual free online program. Get your hands on the event map, schedule, the driver lineup, and more. Check it out at program.gpstpete.com. Bystanders CPR can significantly increase the survival rate for victims of sudden cardiac arrest. When an adult is unresponsive and not breathing normally, take the following steps. First, call 911 or be sure someone else calls. Place your hands in the center of the chest and push hard and fast. Don't stop until help arrives. If possible, send someone to find an AED. Learn more about bystander CPR at amr.net/CPR. AMR is proud partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. We'll take a break. We'll come back with USF 2000 qualifying, podium ceremonies for the MX5 Cup, and much more. Thanks for joining us here Saturday morning at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg.
Welcome, newcomer to the series, driver the number 43, today's Hard Charger award-winning driver, Joey Attanasio. Coming up with him will be stand-in for crew chief Brad Little. It's actually his dad, Joe Attanasio. So once again, Hard Charger here in round number 11 goes to the number 43. Checks up, guys. Let them hear it. Your Hard Chargers this morning in St. Petersburg, Florida. Congratulations, the Attanasio family, on their Hard Charger award here today. They'll get a chance to do it one more time later this afternoon in round number 12. Good job, guys. You can step off the podium, and we will move to the podium finishers, the top three in round number 11 here today. Kicking things off in the third position. He hung out in fourth place all race long, but he was just playing a game, saving his tires, making his move on the last lap, finishing in P3. Driver the number 13, Robert Noaker. Noaker wrapping up yet another podium finish here in 2020. It's what exactly has kept him in the championship fight here this season. Finishing in second place after inheriting the pole position and starting from P1, he comes home in second place in the number 87 for Spark Performance. Please welcome Celine Roland. Roland entered the weekend third in the championship standings. He keeps his championship hopes alive by finishing second here today. So Noaker stands on the podium in third. Celine Roland stands on the podium in second, but getting the job done after starting on the inside of row number 2, all the way from Savannah, Georgia, in the 08. Your championship leader, your round 11 race winner, please welcome Michael Carter. Carter does exactly what he has to do this morning in St. Pete. He scores the win, and those 3 right there are fighting for $200,000 and the championship. It'll all come down to the 12th round, going green at 12:50 this afternoon. Mazda Motorsports responsible for the 2020 Global Mazda MX5 Cup, but we couldn't race without the tires or the presenting sponsor, BF Goodrich, bringing the perfect tire to every single round of the 2020 Mazda Global MX5 Cup Championship, presented by BF Goodrich Racing Tires. Roland, Carter, and Noaker will put on the BFG hats as we say thanks to Pete Calhoun and his staff at BF Goodrich for all they do for Mazda MX5 Cup Racing. One more time, folks, let your podium finishers hear it. Make some noise.
Congratulations to Michael Carter, winner of the first of the 2 MX5 Cup races today. Celine Roland and Robert Noaker rounding out the podium. We are just about set for our first qualifying session of the day. It is the USF 2000 Series. Rob Howden, the voice of the Road to Indy, joins me. We had great action yesterday.